we also assimilate a lot of satellite data which we normally get from NOAA, NESTIS, NASA, then the EUMETSAT. So they're all available on the WMO charter on freely. We download from their FTP servers, whereas the normal data which we get through IMD are coming through their global telecommunication system of WMO. So that's volume is much less, but they're all in situ observations of balloon sounds and all other things. But satellite data actually covers vast areas of the whole globe. And few years back, maybe 10 years back, the predictability in northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere was quite different, because southern hemisphere is full of ocean, so you don't have good observations, so the prediction was not that reliable compared to the northern hemisphere. But with the advent of using the satellite data and products, there are so many now. Hyperspectral means there are more number of channels, thousands of channels. Assimilation of that, now they are almost comparable. The forecast skills are comparable. But now in satellite, they have so many channels, but we cannot assimilate all of them into the model. If you have to take all of them, then your computing power has to increase enormously. So still the data thinning is done. So of all the data available in the satellite, only 10% of it can be being assimilated. We directly assimilate the raw data itself by developing some sort of algorithms to directly convert the model to that variable and minimize it and do it that way. We don't use normally the profiles derived from the satellite products. We assimilate the raw data, we generate a similar output from the model and do a minimization between these two, and it gets assimilated. So nowadays the data assimilation has become 4-dimensional. So as and when the data is available, it can be assimilated. Previously it was 3D VAR, so you wait for a particular time window and whatever data comes, we do to that way. But by going to 4D VAR, it can be assimilated more. But with each data, you have to do a lot of sensitivity studies to see its impact. Today morning there was a paper showing that impact of each satellite data, how much it is. Some of the sensors are more sensitive. You have more impact. Some of them don't give that much. But then space agencies generate these outputs, and the meteorological community or oceanography communities are forced to use it, because finally down the line these products have been generated for weather and climate community. So how much we can assimilate, there's a limit on that. So it requires a lot of testing, and if you really plan that way, you require a lot of people also to do on those things. So that requires, but still there's what is available, I said about 10% only goes in. We are working with the NSUP NOAA systems since the beginning. Now of late, the MOES has signed a MOU with the Met Office, and recently it was enhanced to a consortium type of development, wherein UK Met Office, Australian Bureau of Meteorology, then New Zealand NEWA, then Korean Meteorology Agency in India, all have become partners, co-partners, in the sense it is the community type of development between these people. They will develop and decide what will be the future. Weather is a very difficult area, so collaborative development is much more better, because somebody may be able to develop one part of the codes much better than others. So if it's in a collaboration, then you have all of them together. So you can reap the harvest of somebody else's effort, and somebody else will reap the harvest of what we do. So it's in a way, because it's not very easy to start from scratch and come to their level. So we have to come to some level, then we should be equal partners and decide on how to go. The satellite, because resolutions have gone up, because you can see your mobile pixel sizes are increasing. Same thing, every camera sizes are increasing. So the higher resolution images are available, higher resolution products are available. But then your models have maybe how much, 20 kilometer, 25 kilometer resolutions, grid size, or even in regional size you may have 4 or 1.5. But then you're not coming to that level. So then you have to, if you get high resolution, then you have to do a ground truthing also. How do you know whether that's reliable? Satellite products require a regular validation, calibration with the ground truth. Yeah, big data we already are in big data. So working on analytics, some of my colleagues want to work. But I don't really agree to the data mining part, because you are trying to get some forecasting capability from the data available, which basically a training. Because weather last year what it was this year is not same. You cannot just do this last 10 days it was this, you cannot expect it to be same thing and next. That basically extrapolation with even the artificial neural network, AN and all technologies are that. You are training. But I think we are finally depend on dynamic models or ensemble system probabilistic forecasting. That is only the main thing. So if you have probabilistic forecast, you have 44 members, if 30 members gives rainfall will be there in Delhi, then it's more reliable, and the chief forecast from IMD can give weightage to that. So that is, it's going to be what I understand from ECMWF in UK.